what's good YouTube? We're back with another video. Today we're reacting to He Triggered the Entire NBA with One Sentence by Jimmy High Roller. Jimmy High Roller made a video on what the Noah Lyles said. I don't know if y'all heard it, but he was pretty much saying that NBA players aren't world champions, or they shouldn't be labeled as world champions. Me personally, I think he could have worded it a different way, because the way he said it, just triggered me. It could have been a completely right sentence. He could have said anything. He could have said LeBron is the greatest NBA player of all time, but the way he said it with the tone of his voice, just the tone of his voice alone is what made me angry. I'll be honest. So we're gonna dive into it. I have a couple more comments on it, but I want to react to the video as well. So make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and let's see what Jimmy High Roller has to say.
In the NBA,
I'm also kind of coming off of sickness, so if you hear me clearing my throat and stuff, that's why.
I don't think there's a single topic where everyone is in agreement. In all my days, all the debates, takes, forums, media, I have never seen everyone come together and agree on anything. Until a few days ago. All thanks to this man. In a collective act unlike anything we have ever seen, NBA players have joined forces all to tell this guy he's wrong. The worst part, he might be right.
I have to watch the NBA finals and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what?
Just the voice. It's the voice. The voice is the voice alone. He could have said anything. It's the way he said it just does not rub you the right way, and it just sounds wrong. Even though, I mean, I guess we're gonna talk more about it when he gets into it, but it just I don't know.
Really excited to announce
lovely.
the sponsor
I knew
of
it.
today's
Okay,
video,
better
BetterHelp. No matter your
BetterHelp sponsor me.
needs, and then you get matched up with who me view reality. But not very often do the worlds of track and field and basketball converge. I would know. They're my two favorite sports, and they virtually exist in two different planes of reality. But a few days ago, the two sports collided, all thanks to one little interview that got blown completely out of proportion. So what better opportunity for me to blow it even more out of proportion? You see this guy right here? This is Noah Lyles. He's the fastest man in the world. And this past week, he pulled off the coveted triple gold at the 2023 World Championships, winning the 100, the 200, and the 4x100 relay, a feat that hasn't been pulled off on the world stage since 2016 by an athlete y'all may or may not be familiar with, named Usain Bolt. Yeah, Noah Lyles is really good. And after his historic week on the track, Lyles had some strong words about the idea of being a world champion and how some leagues use the title when they probably shouldn't.
That hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA finals and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States? Don't get me wrong. I love the U.S. at times, but that ain't the world. That is not the world. We are the world. We have almost every country out here fighting, thriving, putting on their flag to show that they are represented. There ain't no flags in the NBA.
Now, this sentiment of a domestic league
Cap. Okay, so I'm gonna say it quick. I'm gonna keep it very quick. But pretty much, let's just say if there was a league where Jokic is from was playing in, and Jokic played in that league, then I'd be like, oh, okay, that's available to say. But players are coming from Nigeria, Serbia, the Caribbean. Players are coming from everywhere to play in the NBA. So that technically is the world championship. Like, there's no better player than Jokic right now in his home country. He is the best player from his country, which is playing in the NBA. So technically, it is the world. Like, you could take a team, 5 players out of the NBA, the 5 best players in the NBA, and the 5 best players around the world, and the 5 best players in the NBA are probably going to be from around the world. So technically, they are world champions, because it's like, it's the same. I don't know. It's the same but different. I don't know how to explain it properly, but this
claiming a world championship despite never facing other countries to win the title has been echoed for years. And it makes sense. In order to be a world champion, you need to beat the rest of the world.
The NBA is encapsulated with the best of the world. The best players in the world play in the NBA. Luka Doncic came to the NBA. Why didn't he stay in his home country to, keep his pride, his country? Because the NBA has the best talent, has the most money, has the most opportunity.
2010, Greg Popovich, who has been the head coach of the U.S. men's national team since 2019, said it doesn't make sense for an NBA team to call themselves the world champions. I don't remember anybody playing anybody outside of our borders to get that tag. Popovich, along with countless others, agree with Lyles.
They don't remember anybody playing outside our borders. Literally everybody. It's almost becoming bad that there's better players around the world. There's probably more foreign better players in the NBA right now than there are from America. Like Jokic, Antetokounmpo, Embiid, bro, Shai. There's so many more that are like, I don't know. They just Karl Anthony Towns. Good Lord, I don't know. It's just...
There's not really much to debate here. Until NBA players saw the interview.
Put his brain in a bird, and the bird will start flying backwards. Oh, no! Perkins is cooking. I'm smoking Buddy in the 200. Nah, that's kind of nuts. Put his brain in a bird.
In the most unanimous voice of opinion I've ever seen in my 7 years covering the NBA, players across the league chimed in on the discussion. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, Draymond Green, Aaron Gordon. The whole damn NBA pulled up to drop off their 2 cents about Noah Lyles' comments. Have you ever seen anything like this? This man had the whole league descending on him over a few words. Every single one of them in universal agreement that the team that wins the NBA Finals are, in fact, the world champions. And you know what? They're right. The team that wins the NBA Finals in any given season are the world champions. And here's why. See, I love track and field. I ran it in college. It was my best sport. One of my closest friends, CJ Allen, represented the US and ran at the World Championship meet this past week. And so I feel I have a solid perspective on this debate. I understand where Noah is coming from. He didn't just earn the title of world champion by simply being the best in the world. He earned the title by beating the best in the world. The title of world champion doesn't inherently come from being the best in the world. It comes from winning a competition that includes the
best world. Yeah, exactly.
Or does it?
No. It does. The entire world, or 95% of the best players in the world, are probably in the NBA. It's just a fact.
See, in most other sports, like the vast majority of sports, in order to be crowned a world champion, you must win some form of competition or tournament on a world scale. Whether it's the World Championships, the Olympics, the FIFA World Cup, even the Little League World Series. A lot of sports fans believe the route to win a world title means beating the rest of the world, and rightfully so. But when it comes to basketball, specifically the NBA, I would disagree. The NBA, despite the word national literally being in the name, is a league comprised of the best basketball players in the world. It isn't some second-rate league. It isn't a sport that's only played here in the States. It is by far the best basketball league on the planet. In fact, out of 537 active NBA players, 128 of them are international
24%.
players. That's 24% of the league. The OKC Thunder have 9 international players from 5 different countries on their roster alone. Unlike a sport like American football, which is almost exclusively played in the US, basketball is a worldwide sport with leagues around the globe. The best players from every country all ending up in the NBA. Now sure, the NBA Finals isn't technically the World Championship by definition.
That's why I said technically. If he said, all he had to do was word it correctly. If he said they do not deserve the label of the world champion because technically the NBA is not. But I mean, I guess if he knows how to go viral and he knows how to get them views and checks, then say what you want to say. But the world hates you.
The NBA championship team is naturally the world champions since the league is home to the best talent in the
Sure
world.
worked.
Would it be anything more than a formality to send, let's say, the Denver Nuggets to Spain to play the Real Madrid basketball club, parade around the world to prove they are definitively the world champs? No. And yet, that is exactly what some NBA teams do. Since 1984, and held nearly every year since, a handful of NBA teams play exhibition games against international teams. And since 1984, there have been 178 of these NBA team versus international team games. Of those 178 games, NBA teams have won 161 of them, giving NBA teams a win percentage against international teams over the last 4 decades of 90%. In fact, the NBA's record against international teams over the last 42 games is 41-1. Look at this. The Blazers were one of the worst teams in the league last season, won only 33 games. I would know, unfortunately, they're my team. Last October, they faced this team, a team out of the Israeli National Basketball League with a name I won't even try to pronounce. And the Blazers blew them out by 53 points. Here's another game from last season, where a ragtag OKC Thunder lineup played a game against a team from the Australian National Basketball League and beat them by 33 points. Half of these Thunder players don't even see the court in the NBA, and they still blew this team out. In 2019, the Cavaliers, who were the worst team in the entire league, faced off against one of the better teams in South America and smoked them by 31. This Cavs team was the worst team in the entire NBA, and they still ran a premier international team out of the building.
That was the year right after LeBron left, right? Just had to say that.
Just look at these results from past games. They're almost all like this. NBA teams don't face international teams for world basketball supremacy because they don't need to. The best teams in the world, without exception, are all here in the NBA. If there was a world tournament for every pro basketball team to have a shot at winning a world championship, the last team standing would just be NBA teams, and then we just added a whole bunch of steps to what we already know as the NBA playoffs. But you don't even have to look into international competition to see how the NBA is a worldwide league. Last season, 6 of the top 8 NBA MVP candidates were international players. The player who won the award, an international player, as was the MVP in 2022 and 2021 and 2020 and 2019. And in terms of odds, the player who is favored to win the MVP this upcoming season is an international player. So is the player in second and third and fourth. The first overall pick in this year's NBA draft is from France. And this is really nothing new. 10 years ago, the San Antonio Spurs roster consisted of 10 international players, which was more than the number of US-born players on their roster. Now, we do not have a world championship tournament or competition for individual teams, and I don't think we will anytime soon. But we do have the next best thing, the Olympics and the FIBA Basketball World Cup. And you don't need to be a fan of basketball to know how these games play out. In 1992, the USA men's national team began filling their roster with professional players from the NBA as opposed to amateur players like they did in past years. This is what led to the inception of the Dream Team. And since 1992, the US men's basketball team has played in 15 world basketball tournaments. That's both the Olympics and the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Out of those 15 world tournaments, the US won 10 of them and medaled in 13. Their total win-loss record throughout that 32-year span, 111 and 12.
Oh my God.
12 losses in 32 years. The average margin of victory for the U.S. men's basketball team in international competition,
look at the margin
plus 26 points per game. For perspective, the
right.
largest margin of victory throughout the 2023 NBA season was plus 6.5 by the Boston Celtics. The worst team in the NBA last season had a margin of victory of negative 10. When the U.S. sends out a basketball team for international competition, the gap between them and the rest of the world is larger than the gap between the best NBA team and the worst NBA team. So does winning the NBA Finals truly make a team the world champions? Well, technically, no. They don't face any international teams. They don't win a world competition. So by definition, they are not world champions. But I mean, come on. This argument is sheer technicalities and semantics.
Yeah.
You point me to the team outside of the U.S.
that can beat the they can even beat 5 players in the NBA with no bench. The 5 best single-handedly picked NBA players with no bench, and they just play all 40 or what, all 50 minutes. And I promise you,
Denver Nuggets or the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics or the LA Lakers. And I'll point you to a world champion. Being the best in the world doesn't simply make you the world champion, and beating the best in the world surely does. But what if the best in the world are all playing in the same league, and you and your team are the winners of that league? Well, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth, that makes you the world champions.
Yeah. I agree fully. He worded it perfectly. Technically, no, but the way he said it is what made people, oh my gosh, you are crazy. But technically, it's not really that type of response that you need. It's not a, oh my gosh, you are crazy. It's just a, you should have worded it right. Technically, you are right. But we do have the best in the world. And there's no other team outside the U.S. or outside the NBA that will smoke a team in the NBA right now if they play the game. Like, there's stats to prove it. There's teams to prove it. And the NBA is, what do you say, 26% international? The top 6 out of the 8 MVP candidates were international. So, yeah. Well, that's my input on sports politics. I don't know. I'm probably not going to do more of these, but it was definitely an interesting topic that I wanted to get into. So, yeah, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.
I'm just talking on this beat, like it's just you and just me. We can say it's side of the beef.